Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Burst CG back here, and today we're back for another Marvel's Avengers video. And today's topic is, yes, about the OLT. Did Family Reunion OLT impress? Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to drop a comment if you like this OLT, and definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Gonna be talking a lot about Avengers. It's almost August, and you know what that means, right? War for Wakanda. That's going to be a very interesting DLC, and I hope it shines, some positivity on the game. But today, we're going to have to take a little bit of a darker step and talk about some things. So, to begin, did I like this mission? Did I think it was worth playing? I liked the boss, and I liked the boss when I didn't one-shot it. I played it 3 times. Once I played it with High Ruler, and twice I played it with a batch of other people. The first time, and you'll see that throughout this video, we had only wiped about maybe once as a team, and that was during the boss fight. After, we got right back up and pretty much downed him pretty quickly. I didn't like that we finished it that quick because it didn't feel challenging to me. And I came in probably with the worst build in here. I had a really good ranged, setup, but I didn't have any defense. Came in here with about 1200 defense. If anything, I should have been down the most out of anybody in here. And I got down twice. The one with the team wipe and one earlier in the mission when I was saving people. Yeah. So the mission structure itself, right? We knew what we were in for. When they told us that there was going to be like a tachyon timer, didn't really care for it. It didn't really change the gameplay aspect of it. You still run around and pretty much do the same thing you would in the other version without the timer. So it's nothing too crazy. And honestly, they could have just left it out. It doesn't hinder anybody from playing the story or the mission itself. It's just there to be, I guess, a nuisance if it is a nuisance to you. The enemies being power level 157 is quite shocking because I would have assumed that they would have made the enemies 165 for the simple reason, if you go and take your build into custom armor right now against 165, 170 enemies, you will have a little bit of a harder time. You're not going to sit there and one-shot everybody. And that's what people were fully expecting. I've seen a few people on Twitter. They will say, yep, my build is OLT ready. And they're doing good damage against 165 enemies, like at least taking out half their health. And they're not one-shotting it for sure, but they're at least taking out the health pretty decently. That's not the case here. 157, I mean, that's not that far away from 150. I mean, you still can do a pretty decent amount of damage. And I mean, all I have is I have really high precision on my cat build. And I have very low defense, very low valor and all that stuff. But I got a damage buff, I got a cosmic, and I'm using his innate defense skills to help me out so I don't die. And I'm running his Brooklyn Brawler that has the you can block whatever, when you activate his skill. But it's a unique boss fight in the fact when you get to it, right? But other than that, I mean, the rest of the mission is just meh. We knew what we were getting. And as I said, the boss fight itself, cool. Wish it was a little longer. I mean, Monica's is drawn out because she literally forces a bubble up and you can't hit her. You have to fight other enemies. And it was very surprising that wasn't the case here. I mean, the super adaptoid splits. And I mean, you don't seem like you need to fight all of the super adaptoids when they split. It's just a few of them, because in this boss fight at the end, when I was playing with High Ruler and a couple of other people, we didn't have a bubble left because we were in endgame pretty much, and we had gotten him down to his last little bits of health, and he had like 2 or 3 clones left, and I guess you only need to hit one of them to get him down for his health, right? Very strange. But he had no survivability tactics. You could still hit him while you're in the bubble to protect yourself, so it wasn't like he was fully protected. The super adaptoid is left open the whole match. And with that, you're pretty much good to go. It's concerning that we as a community are doing this. And I know people will say that, yeah, you shouldn't be doing or bringing in one-shot builds. It's not the player's fault. I mean, it's literally the missions and how they're brought up. I mean, if CD took into account the fact that people were going to be bringing this stuff, they could have easily made the mission itself on brutal difficulty, or just simply made it normal, but it's at 165. And I mean, just think about the people who have maxed out champion skill trees, right? They're breezing by this easy. They've got a really good build. They've got all of the damage buffs. I mean, well, all of the buffs that they can get from the tree, the champion skill tree. And on top of that, they're playing with other people who likely are smart, know how to play the game, know how to use battery effects, know how to use their damage buffs, know how to use certain skills in certain ways to get better damage. It comes full circle, and I think that they're really underestimating what people are doing. In my opinion, I think it was kind of a horrible move to add champion XP and skills this early in the game when we didn't have any real end game content. You had people max that out within 1 week, right? I just started playing Cap, and being casual, I'm already at level 48, almost 50. And while that's not 380 or whatever the max is, it's still a lot in comparison to what some other people might have it as. I just definitely think they need to rethink what's going on with the damage in the community. It's too high. We shouldn't be able to be doing this. That's all I'm gonna say. The boss itself, yeah, you see there, I just died. That's just a matter of not knowing where everything was, right? First time. Second time after that, bam, it's over. There's no stopping that. But yeah, it didn't fully impress me. It was a good boss fight for what it was. It does have me concerned for future boss fights. Like, what's next after this? We know what Colonial Labs is they're not going to change a whole mission like that. And if they wanted to, I still don't understand why release that one later. Like, put your best work out there first. Don't give us mediocre work, for sure. Like, this mission is no different. It's just a boss fight. You could have made this into a villain sector. That's what people have been asking for a while. You might as well just have turned this into a villain sector. There's nothing about this being an OLT. It doesn't feel like an OLT. It doesn't even feel like an elite villain sector for that. Elite and super oil or omega level threat mean that you should be coming in with these builds like this. You feel like you need it, and I haven't felt like I needed it. So I really hope Crystal Dynamics takes into account all this information. I really hope that they're scouring Twitter, Reddit, YouTube videos, Discords for any information that they can get, because they're going to need it all. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean or anything, but 90% of the community will say it was too easy. There's the few people that will say it was hard and that they couldn't do anything, but that just comes down to more veteran players and new players. You know what I mean? There's somebody I know who just got their freaking Iron Man to 150 just yesterday, and they were still able to play and pretty much completed and get the gear. So if you can still do that after having not played that much, I mean, come on. It's definitely, they've got some work to do. So Crystal Dynamics, I applaud you on what you try to do with the boss fight. When it's not one shot, it looks very cool. Design wise, I would have hoped you would have made it a little bit harder, and I would have hoped that you would have chose not to just make it Family Reunion all over again. Try to incorporate some different factors for the mission and not just use a timer, because it didn't really change the gameplay aspect of it. You could still run through it normally. I would have preferred to use 160, 165 enemies, 170 enemies even. Yeah, I think that you guys really have to consider what people in the community can do. And I know that you've said once upon a time in a stream that even the best testers that they have in house are surprised with what the community can do with their builds. And I think you guys really have to take into consideration, like, you guys need to start trying this stuff for yourselves and see how you can avoid that. And if not, then call in people from the community. I'm sure that they would be more than willing to give pointers and tips of how to stop people from being able to do stuff like this. And that's not to say like you should just totally cancel it, but there should be ways to make it feel challenging for your veteran players. Whether that's adding in 2 versions of the game mode, one for people who are a certain power level, one for people who are now a certain champion level. I I have I have faith, but I would love to see some changes into the difficulty. Whenever we get that power level increase, this content you've released is going to be much, much easier, on top of the fact, again, that people have maximum champion ranks, max character levels, and max power levels on top of that, with very, very good gear stats, very, very good perks. It's just going to get so much easier for them. And you have to find ways to negate that. But that's all for me. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts down below. Let me know, did you like the mission? What would you like to see changed? What things bothered you? And what are you looking forward most in the game? Or what would you like to see? Because we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary for this game. And we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the Spider-Man announcement with no Spider-Man news. So it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.